You know what I'm going to say, right? It is still just testing. However, the Bahrain's pre-season test is different to the Barcelona shakedown, and I'm going to tell you why in my F1 classroom. So we are in a new regulation era, and this year's official pre-season test takes place over 6 days instead of 3. So from the 11th to the 13th of February to the 18th to 20th, and it's all happening at the Bahrain International Circuit. The circuit is 5.412 kilometers long, and it's used for testing because it has a little bit of everything. The long straights, for example, are really good for testing the power unit efficiency, the energy recovery and deployment, top speed validation, engine modes. More, of course, it will be testing the newly introduced Active Aero 2. We've got heavy braking in areas like turn 1, which will test the brake cooling and the balance, and then we've got varied corners, slow medium corners, which also test the mechanical grip, traction and also chassis balance. One of the other reasons why Bahrain is used for testing is because of the surface. The track abrasion is quite high, so therefore the thermal degradation in the tires is too. So we can test the tire behaviors and the life of the tires a little bit better here. And then also, of course, the weather. It's dry weather, so we won't get any unpredictable running like we did in Barcelona. As for tires, Pirelli are bringing the C1, C2, C3 for the first 3 days of the test. These are marked differently than usual, so be aware of that. On the screen, you can see for week 1 how the teams are splitting their dry weather sets. So they do get 28 sets for week 1. For week 2, we get the inclusion of the C4 and the C5, and they get 24 sets of dry weather tires. As for the schedule, it's 8 hours of running per day. Only 1 car per team is allowed out on track, so the teams split their days differently. So for example, we might see driver 1 on day 1, driver 2 on day 2, and then they'll split their duties, or they might split their duties completely throughout each day. Now for the question that I know everybody is wanting, can we watch it? Well, the answer is yes and no. So for the first 3 days, only the last hour is being broadcast, but for the final 3 days in week 2, it's all being broadcast live. Just remember, the Bahrain pre-season test is different to the Barcelona shakedown. That was more, does our car work? It's more about validations, explorations, first impressions. Bahrain is different, and particularly for week 2. So this time round, the cars are pushed harder to check their peak performance. That's supposed to be a muscle, but the reliability is checked. There's more pressure put under these cars. And just generally, the teams will get more race distant validations on realistic fuel loads, different setups, tire behaviors as well. We've got the inclusion of the C4 and C5 in week 2, so we'll get a better idea of the degradation that does occur on these 2026 tires. Bahrain is seen as a more honest testing track, and whilst it will be difficult to get a true idea of the pecking order, I mean, they are running different programs after all, we will still get a bit of an idea of trends. How is the consistency? Who's running smoothly? Who's running into issues? Who is the most prepared for that first race? Because after this, it's lights out and away we go for the Australian Grand Prix.